On November 11, 2023, Julia Cecchettin, a promising biomedical engineering student, was tragically murdered by her possessive ex-boyfriend. Her death sparked outrage, protests, and a nationwide conversation about femicide and the need for change. This is the story of Julia's life, her untimely death, and the ongoing fight to end gender-based violence. Julia Cecchettin was born on May 5, 2001, in Padua, Italy, to Gino and Monica Cecchettin. She grew up in a loving family with her siblings, Elena and Davide, in Padua, one of Italy's oldest and culturally rich cities. From a young age, Julia exhibited a deep curiosity, particularly in science, which led her to pursue a degree in biomedical engineering at the University of Padua. Julia excelled academically, immersing herself in the challenges of her studies at one of Europe's oldest universities. Her ambition was clear. She wanted to contribute to the field of medical technology. She was known for her compassion, intelligence, and warm personality, making her well liked by her peers and professors. Julia was particularly close to her sister, Elena, with whom she shared a strong bond, confiding in each other about their dreams and challenges. Her mother, Monica, who passed away in 2022, instilled in Julia values of hard work, kindness, and resilience. As Julia approached the final stages of her degree, her future seemed promising. However, her personal life began to take a dark turn, with her relationship with Filippo Turetta, a fellow student at the university. Julia's relationship with Filippo Turetta started during their time at the University of Padua, but they broke up in August 2023. Despite the breakup, Julia and Filippo stayed in contact, which set the stage for the tragic events to follow. Filippo's behavior after the breakup became increasingly concerning. He grew possessive, emotionally unstable, and often expressed suicidal thoughts. He manipulated Julia, making her feel emotionally coerced to maintain contact. Elena noticed that Filippo's actions bordered on emotional blackmail. He would often tell Julia that he saw no future without her, which placed immense pressure on her. Despite her concerns, Julia continued to meet him occasionally out of compassion for his mental state. These meetings, though seemingly harmless, left Julia emotionally drained and trapped in a toxic cycle. As Filippo's behavior became more controlling, Julia's family became increasingly worried. They recognized the signs of an unhealthy and abusive relationship, which ultimately escalated into violence and led to Julia's tragic murder on November 11, 2023. On the evening of November 11, 2023, Julia left home with Filippo to visit a shopping center in Marghera. The evening began innocently enough, with Julia shopping for shoes for her graduation. Afterward, they dined at McDonald's inside the mall, where Julia paid for both meals. At 22:43, she sent her last message to her sister, Elena, saying everything was fine. After leaving the shopping center around 10:30 p.m., the couple had a heated argument in a parking lot near Julia's home. A witness heard Julia's cries for help and called emergency services, but no patrols were available. The emotional distress between Julia and Filippo, combined with his possessiveness and manipulation, created the environment for the violent events that followed. And the search for Julia began on November 12th, when her father, Gino, reported her missing to the local authorities. Julia's family suspected something more sinister had happened. Her sister, Elena, took to social media to appeal for help. The media followed the case closely, and public interest grew as the investigation progressed. On November 18, 2023, a breakthrough came when the Civil Protection's Special Dog Unit discovered a large nylon bag containing Julia's body in a cave in Piancavallo. The area, usually closed for security reasons during the winter, was a secluded spot. Julia's body was found hidden there, and an autopsy later revealed that she had been stabbed 25 to 30 times, with defensive wounds indicating a desperate struggle. For Julia's family, the discovery of her body marked both the end of their painful search and the beginning of a long journey through grief and justice. After committing the murder, Filippo fled, leading to a nationwide manhunt. Authorities issued a European arrest warrant, and Gino made public appeals in English and German to help locate Filippo. Turetta managed to cross into Austria, where he evaded capture for several days. The public grew anxious as law enforcement struggled to track his location. On November 25, 2023, Turetta's car broke down on a motorway near Leipzig, Germany. Stranded, he was stopped by police, and upon being questioned, Turetta immediately confessed, "I am Filippo Turetta. I killed my girlfriend." His confession confirmed his involvement in the crime. Turetta was extradited to Italy on November 25, 2023, and transported to Verona prison to await trial. His swift capture brought some closure to Julia's family, even though their grief remained. The trial of Filippo Turetta began on September 23, 2024, in the court of Venice. Turetta faced charges of voluntary homicide, aggravated by malice aforethought, cruelty, stalking, and improper disposal of a body. The trial, closely followed by the public, was an important step toward justice for Julia and her family. The prosecutor, Bruno Cerci, argued for a life sentence, highlighting Turetta's premeditated actions and emotional manipulation. Julia's father, Gino, attended the trial but emphasized that he was not seeking revenge. He wanted justice to be served, not out of vengeance, but to honor Julia's memory and stand against the violence that took her life. Turetta's defense claimed his actions were influenced by emotional instability. He admitted to the murder and expressed remorse. On December 3, 2024, Turetta was sentenced to life imprisonment, with the court acknowledging aggravating factors like premeditation and kidnapping. Julia's murder sparked widespread outrage across Italy. Protests erupted in cities like Padua, with thousands marching to demand justice and raise awareness about femicide and gender-based violence. Vigils, marches, and public gatherings became a powerful movement to challenge controlling relationships and toxic masculinity. Julia's sister, Elena, became a vocal advocate for change, condemning the patriarchal culture that enables violence against women. In an open letter, she criticized society's tendency to label perpetrators as monsters and called for men to take responsibility for their actions. The protests marked the beginning of a broader conversation about healthy relationships and the need for societal transformation. Julia's death left a lasting impact on her family and society. Her father, Gino, became an advocate for the fight against violence against women. He focused on raising awareness about controlling relationships and the signs of abuse, using his daughter's tragic experience to fuel the movement for change. The Julia Cecchettin Foundation was created to educate the public about domestic violence and support victims. In February 2024, the University of Padua awarded Julia a posthumous honorary degree, honoring her potential and the life she lost. Julia's family continued to raise awareness by sharing a list she had written before her death, documenting the controlling behaviors of Filippo Turetta. This list became a tool for educating others about the early signs of abusive relationships. Julia's legacy remains a beacon for change, inspiring conversations about femicide, gender equality, and the ongoing fight against violence toward women. Julia's death sparked a national conversation about gender-based violence and the systemic issues that perpetuate such violence. Her father, Gino, continued to advocate for social change, using his grief to raise awareness. The Julia Cecchettin Foundation serves as a testament to her legacy as her family works tirelessly to prevent future tragedies and educate the public on controlling relationships. Julia's life, though tragically cut short, continues to inspire change. The fight for justice, alongside continued advocacy, is vital to ensuring that Julia's memory lives on as a symbol of the fight against gender-based violence.